ESPN 1420, ESPN1420.com. Welcome back into the Great Scott Show, the Great Sports Callers Open Think Tank, Acadiana's best sports leader, right here in Lafayette, Louisiana. And with that being said, please welcome back to the program Lafayette native, Northside High grad, Olympic wrestler, and the UFC light heavyweight champion, Daniel Cormier. DC, what is up, my friend?
Man, I'm telling you, it always feels good. I get this sense of pride when you say Lafayette's own, then you say Olympian, now UFC light heavyweight champion. You could say it again if you want to.
I will. I'll do that right now, as a matter of fact. UFC champion, because Saturday night in Houston, D.C., UFC 192 main event on pay-per-view. This is your first title defense as champion. Do you feel any different going into the fight as the champ than you did before when you were going in either – to get higher on the card or to, or for that matter, when you were, fighting Jon Jones for the championship? Does it feel different being the champ?
I mean, there's more work involved, in terms of promotion and stuff, but I've always worked hard and trained hard, so my approach in the gym didn't change. But, the work in regards to trying to sell the fight and the responsibility out in the media is a lot more different. It's a lot harder, actually.
Just basically more media responsibilities than normal, and as a result, it's, look, man, I know how much you love your family. You're a family man, but you got to train. You got to get ready to defend the title, and then you got basically that many more interviews. I mean, does it get exhausting?
It's tough, man. I'm gone a lot. I don't get to see my family as much as I would like to, but you know what? They understand the process now. My fiance and my kids know that after this is done, I have some time to spend with them, like normal families. So it's tough for a little bit, but once we get through it, we have time. So we can go on vacation. My fiance is from California, so out in California, you're right by the beach. She loves that. We go on vacation, I make her go to Lafayette.
Yeah, but look, I see how often you order some boudin from down here. What does she think about the Cajun food?
She loves the food, but she's like, Daniel, when we first started dating and she went home, she had everything, man. She was like, Daniel, I'm getting heavy. She was like, I cannot be eating all this Cajun food. She goes, it's so good. Her favorite is jambalaya. She loves jambalaya. Like, she absolutely loves it. But the rice, it's not good for a woman, if she, when she's trying to, she had some kids and she's trying to lose her baby weight. I'm taking her back to Louisiana. We're just face first in some red beans. One time I had her eat red beans 4 days in a row down in Lafayette.
All right, DC, our guest, UFC light heavyweight champion. I'll say it again. Alexander Gustafsson, your opponent. Been working a lot on his wrestling to prepare for this fight. I think he went to Chechnya a little bit to get ready for this. I'll just ask you straight up, DC, how do you plan on beating him Saturday?
Pressure, man. Pressure. Make him work the entire 25 minutes. I'm not going to allow him to get into his rhythm. When he gets into a rhythm, this dude is tough, man. It's hard to fight him when he gets into his rhythm. I'm not going to allow him to get into his rhythm. I'm going to take him down. I'm going to push him, and I'm just going to make him work. I'm going to do what I do. Anytime I'm able to fight at my best in the way that I'm supposed to be fighting, I beat guys. And Alexander's just going to be another one of those guys.
Whether it be your win against Rumble Johnson to your title defense this Saturday, folks are always asking you about Jon Jones. This week's no different. Even though he hasn't been reinstated, everyone's still talking DC versus Jon Jones again. Is it annoying and is it a distraction?
It's a distraction if you allow it to be, but I've already kind of accepted that Jon and I will be always lumped together, just because I believe that we're both so good at this sport that it's going to be hard to keep us apart. There aren't many guys that can beat me, and obviously no one has beaten Jon to actually keep us apart. If a guy wins enough, he'll be fighting for a championship again, and I think Jon and I will continue to be in that way because we're always going to be around the belt.
I've heard you say in several interviews that you went into that fight And I, look, I guess I'm being a hypocrite now. I'm going back to your fight against Jones, but you said that you kind of went into that fight with a different mindset than you normally did, and that you'll never allow that to happen again, whether you're fighting him again or anybody else. What was different about your mindset in that one? How did it kind of get away from what you normally do?
Man, I was asked a question the other day, and it was the most the greatest thing that I've ever heard in terms of interviews. The guy said, "What now, DC? Being that the belt was such a goal for you. That's what you wanted for so long. How do you continue to go on when you've achieved what you've been chasing for so long?" And I said, since I got the belt, I thought there would be some satisfaction, because he was right. I've chased it for so long. I go, but there wasn't. Because there's an underlying thing that's always there, whether I'm chasing the belt or not, and that's competition. I go, so I'm not necessarily sure it was about the belt as much as it was about having the opportunity to compete. And when it's competition, I love it. When it was the fight against Jones, I wanted to fight him. I was angry. It was emotional. It wasn't about the competition anymore. As long as it's about the competition, the environment, the chance to prove myself against another person, I'm fine in those settings. When it gets away from there, that's when it becomes difficult. I'm clouded. My judgment's not the same. I can't compete to the best of my ability. So I lost focus of what's my driving force in that fight. It wasn't the belt. It was the competition. I needed to remember that.
Gustafsson lost to Jones, lost to Johnson. In his loss to Jon Jones, he fought better than what folks anticipated. But have you ever seen a fighter this high on the card get so much praise for losing a fight?
Never. And I've said that time and time again, the guy became an international superstar by fighting someone close. And it's very weird, man, because when you look at it, a lot of situations where he's had to go in and do what wasn't expected of him, he hasn't done his best. But people seem to like Alexander.
Well, down here in Cajun country, we like DC. And speaking of Alexander, you're damn right. Speaking of Gustafsson, he lost when he lost to Rumble Johnson. He said he contemplated retirement. Will he be doing the same thing after UFC 192 this Saturday?
I think he'll be done. I think Alex may just hang him up because he wants to be the champion. And if he couldn't win the championship from Jones, lost in the number one contenders fight to Rumble, then loses another championship fight to me, what's he really pursuing? It'll be tough for him. Again, the competition doesn't drive everyone. I think Alex wants to be the champion. And after Saturday, if he loses, I don't think he'll want to chase just fighting. So the guy's got a lot of opportunity outside of the octagon, too. He does a lot of modeling. He is a superstar, a megastar in Sweden. So I don't know if he'll continue to pursue this.
Daniel Cormier, our guest, UFC light heavyweight champion, Lafayette native, on the phone line with us right now, getting ready for his main event pay-per-view fight, UFC 192 in Houston. Not too far down the road. Some folks from here heading over there to support you and watch you. But you've said it a couple times, he's got a lot of fans, does Gustafsson. There are people out there that like to discredit you a lot, DC. Does that give you extra motivation?
Yes, it does. Anytime people doubt you, it should motivate you, because you go to prove it doesn't matter what you say. I know that my hard work and commitment to the sport and to my craft is going to carry me. And I've shown that time and time again. And people just want to sometimes discredit a person. Doesn't matter. I'll continue to prove them wrong. I'll continue to smile and live a happy life and continue to win. So as I said yesterday, when people do that, it doesn't really affect me. But when you start talking about my kids and my family and all this other stuff, then it's like, wow, man, these people are pretty brutal. And then it's like I can't really do them anything, but I sure as hell can take it out on Gustafsson. Understood.
DC, our guest, you brought up your family a number of times. The last time I had you on, I had just had my firstborn, my son, and asked you for some fatherly advice. And, DC, when I look at your life, you lost your dad tragically on Thanksgiving Day when you were 7. You lost a a cousin and a high school teammate in a car crash. Your best friend on the Oklahoma State basketball team in a plane crash. You lost a daughter years ago in a terrible, tragic car accident. One of those things could bring someone down and not let them get back, just get back up metaphorically. How have you been able to reach the heights in your life and in your career amid all of that personal tragedy, and how much has that driven you?
It drives me every day. As I say, my daughter, she goes to the octagon with me every time. It's the people around me, man. Having a great support system, people who believe in you, who continue to push you forward and continue to tell you that your dreams can be accomplished. My mom and my dad, they still live in Lafayette, and they always tell me, Daniel, continue to be a good dad to the kids, continue to love Selena, and just continue to do the right things, and you can never stop counting blessings. And that's just the truth. It's like, I believe these things. I believe everything they tell me, and I live by those words, and it's never failed me, so I just keep on following what my parents told me, believing in my support system, and just having great people around me. I surround myself with the type of people that are going to continue to help me to become a better person.
UFC light heavyweight champion Daniel Cormier. Just two more for you, Daniel. And you mentioned your parents and Lafayette and back home, and your fiance is from Cali, and you bring her down here, and you guys sample a lot of the great cuisine. What do you love most about being from Lafayette?
Man, you know what I love most about being from Lafayette? Just the values that comes from being brought up in the South. People don't really understand, we're raised a little differently. The respect that you have to have as a kid that was brought up in Lafayette. When I left home and I talk to people and I show respect to my elders, and I say yes sir and no sir and yes ma'am to my elders. A lot of people don't understand that. They can't understand why I would say that. And I'm like, you know what? It was how I was brought up. We hold the people that are older than us in high regard, and we respect them to the highest. I love the values that I was brought up with down in the South, and a lot of people from around the country, they just don't quite understand it. So that's probably my greatest thing about being from Lafayette. Outside of the fun stuff, being able to cook and just having great sports, watching the having LSU and having the Saints, and all that stuff is cool. But I think the values more than anything.
For anyone listening on that it's on the fringe about whether or not to go to UFC 192 or buy it, tell them why they need to get off the fringe and buy the damn thing and get ready for a great card and a great main event.
Get off the fence, buy the fight. I know Alex and I will give you a great fight. If you're around the area, if you're from Lafayette, I'm home. This is as close as I'm probably ever going to get. I was supposed to fight New Orleans, didn't work out. This is about as close as I'm going to get. So if you want to watch a live UFC and you want to watch a guy that grew up right where you grew up, come out to Houston, man, and support me. I'd really appreciate it, and I promise to give a good show.
UFC light heavyweight champion Daniel Cormier has been our guest. DC, you're an inspiration, man. Best of luck, continued success, and look forward to talking to you again before your next title defense.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, brother.
You got it.